Okay, Hang Gang, I'm sure by now y'all have all heard Keeping Up with the Kardashians is going away, as if 2020 couldn't get any worse. Here to talk about the show's early demise is friend of the show herself, Miss Kourtney Kardashian. Welcome, Kourtney.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. What's going on?
I'm nervous to talk to you. I mean, I know you're so busy. Thank you for making time with us today. There's so much going on with press for the show ending. I mean, I see you all around. What are your thoughts? What are you really thinking about the end of it?
It's a really crazy time, but I just want to set the record straight. I am a trendsetter. I started it. I was like, I'm done with the show. And then my mom, Chris, was like, you know what, Court, you're so right. And just everyone followed suit. And I just feel like I was the person that jumped off the cliff first.
Yeah, you were over it. I mean, we all watched those episodes where you were just like, stop following me around. And they were literally spying on you. I mean, does that just get old after a while? Is that kind of the straw that broke the camel's back?
I wouldn't really say that, but it's just like I was done, right? Like I'm such a busy mom. I have Poosh to run. We're always launching new products. So it's like the show wasn't going anywhere that we like needed it to go. And it's just like clarity for our mind. We don't have time for it. So it's just better to be done.
And we love Poosh. Tell us more about your brand, Poosh, which is, how would you describe that? Like a lifestyle brand? You have all kinds of products on there.
It's just pushing yourself to the best self you can be. It's a lifestyle brand. It's a lot of health and wellness, tons of keto recipes.
We know you're so into that.
We love keto. There's like Chloe's favorite cocktails that are like 2 calories.
So when was the last time you even had sugar? You don't eat sugar.
Yeah, so no sugar in my house. It's like the leading cause for obesity in our country, and it's just so bad. It makes pimples on your skin. So I just like don't even eat sugar. I just smell it, and then I just put it down.
I should try that.
Yeah,
I like that little trick.
Don't put it in your mouth. Just like, and then just like put it down.
Wow. Okay, now, did you learn this trick from your bestie, Addison Rae? Because we know she's also a trendsetter. I mean, how did you guys meet?
We actually, no one believes this, but we met because she was just at my house doing TikToks with Mace. And then I was just like, that looks like fun. And then we just like started becoming friends. Like, it's not weird. She's really mature. And I'm super young at heart, so it was easy.
And what kinds of things do you guys like to do together?
Oh my God, we exercise together. We eat avocado smoothies. She's just like the little sister that I always wanted, and she does stuff that Kylie and Kendall like never did.
Right. Like be healthy.
Yeah, just like she's all natural. We just like get in the pool and like wrestle, and like Mason takes pictures of us. It's just
It's
fun.
so cute. I love following you guys. Your friendship is really cute. And then what about, because it's always weird co-parenting, but I have to compliment you and Scott do it so well on the show. I mean, it's really seamless. Is that because you get along with his new girl, Sophia? Like, are y'all besties too? Sometimes I can't tell her and Addison apart.
Right. I mean, like, I wouldn't say we're besties, but we are inclusive of her. And I just think that the Kardashians are really good at marketing and co-parenting. It's like our things. So with Scott, we've just been through so much together, and I just want him to always be a part of my life. And like, who knows? Am I pregnant again? Like, I don't know.
Oh,
but, like,
wow.
I could be. Yeah.
Now, what about Rob? We don't see him on the show as much. Is he still estranged from the family, or what's your relationship with him?
Cuomo was always the closest with Rob.
Right.
I tried to get him into college. And then I tried to get him a job, and then he was just like, no, I want to do socks. So I feel like Arthur George, his business kind of just like fizzled out, and he lost a lot of weight recently. So he was about to come back on the show, but too bad, it's over. So he'll just have to work harder with the socks.
What about Black China? Are you and her besties, or what are your thoughts on her?
I cannot stand Black China. She just is, honestly, for lack of better terms, trash. And
she never fit in with the family. She always seemed,
Oh, sorry.
She was kind of always the odd girl out.
Yeah, my mom is probably calling me one second.
Oh my God. Is it Chris?
Is it Chris?
She's getting a call from Kris Jenner as we speak. I'm telling you, Kourtney Kardashian is a very busy lady.
I'm so busy. It's Poosh calling me. We have to finalize a couple articles. I'll get to it later.
I know. And you're just doing all the, publicity rounds right now because we're all hearing this news. We're so sad that the show's going away. But I mean, like you said, it's time for you to focus on your kids. I mean, how many do you have now?
I have 3, but Kim has 4. So I feel like I need to have 1 more or 2 more because I'm always in competition.
Right. Yeah. You can't have her let that 1 extra.
No, she like pulled the surrogate card, and I'm like, that's not cool.
Well, maybe Addison Rae, we can just complete the circle, and she could do that for you because you don't need to ruin your tiny little body. I mean, you've done enough.
That's so true.
Your kid days are over. Or would you have another one, Kourtney? Would you?
I would never shut it out, but I feel like I'm past the point of doing like a young mom pregnancy. I'm now considered geriatric, so
we don't like that word in the Kardashian house.
No, like you can't put Botox in your embryos. It's just like, I've looked, it's not a thing.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by here for the hang. Everybody is on pins and needles to watch that final episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, which is going to air in 2021. So thanks for being here, Court.
Thank you so much. It was so great talking with you. I gotta go. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Bye.
That's it. So syrupy and sweet. Miss Nikki Bon is here for the hang. You know her from the Whoa Dad podcast and the LA comedy scene, R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Welcome to Here for the Hang. I'm so excited that you are our first in person. Right?
Yeah, I'm excited too. I feel special. I'm an only child, so like this is the kind of shit I need in my life,
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm not an only child, but my brother was born so late after me that I still had like that sad childhood where you didn't have anybody to play with for a while.
Oh, how long was he born after you?
11. All right. 11 years.
11 years. Were you jealous?
Yeah, 11 years. Yeah, because I had just gotten to the stage where I was like, I don't want a sibling. What are you doing? Like, did you want siblings?
No.
Or were you happy?
I was happy. And I was like, first of all, my mom was divorced. So I understood that if I got a sibling, it would be because she was having sex and being a slut. And I was like, that's not going to happen on my clock.
This is your hot mom we're talking about.
It's my hot mom. Yeah.
Okay. Miss Nikki Bon, if you've ever seen any of her YouTube clips or comedy around town, she has a lot of bits about this hot mom. Now, I've never seen her, but I've heard. So tell us on a scale of 1 to 10, what were we working with when you were a child, and what are we working with now?
Oh,
let's hope she doesn't see this episode.
I was like, are you watching? Are you watching, Karen? Because this is my time to shine after all these years.
And her name's Karen?
Yeah.
That's unfortunate for this year.
Oof, it is so funny with her being a Karen.
Is that a sweet, sweet payback for you?
It really is. It is. She's like, I don't get this whole Karen thing. It's not true. And I was like, Mom, you do ask for the manager. And she goes, yes, but it works. And I was like, that's a Karen thing to say. Like, you need to stop this whole Karen thing. It's like racist. I was like, nope, you can't say that. Mom, no, you can't.
And listen, Nikki and I also, we bond over the fact that we both work in the service industry and have for many years. So we've dealt with a mighty Karen.
This is what I'm saying. And here's my thing is like everybody in the service industry like complains about Karens, and I'm like, oh, boo fucking who? I have to go home to a Karen. I was raised by a Karen. Like nothing was good enough.
And she's always asking to speak to the management of your home, which is your dad, and he's not there. So
yeah, I was like, but you are the manager. I don't know what you want from me. But the thing is, like, so my mom, when I was growing up, she was probably like a 9. Yeah, 9. She wasn't like Cindy Crawford hot, but when I look at pictures of her now, like from when I was younger, I'm like, oh, she was hot. Like at the time, I was like, she's pretty enough so that I would always, it's so embarrassing. Talk about codependent. But like every time I played house or have to like be a character, I'd be like, my name's Karen and I work in advertising and I drive a red Mazda. And I'm like, that's disgusting. I'm a sicko.
Isn't it crazy what we aspire to be whenever we're kids? Like whatever, why was that fun? Like, we were talking about this earlier because Chase, my boyfriend, he's dubbing tapes. We were talking about the cassette tapes.
Yeah.
And we literally found a cassette tape where all I'm doing is pretending to be the principal reading the announcements at school. Like, that is a boring only child thing to have on recording.
Boys and girls, quieten down. This is the first day of school. We need to call out buses right. Now, this is how we're going to do it. Every day, if your mother picks you up, if you're a walker or a rider, I'm going to call walkers and riders. Walkers and riders, you're dismissed. Go out front, and you will see your walkers and riders teacher. And you wait, okay? So you go out the front door to the front. Thank you.
Like, I'm like, bus number 5, your bus is here, your bus is here. And I'm doing a Southern accent because I'm imitating my teachers.
But that's kind of cute. Like,
that was fun. Like, remember when we used to love to play school for hours on end? Because that's all you know, because you're like, well, they're making us do it. But why are you doing it in your off hours? Like, I don't know why that was fun. Went through a whole want to be a teacher phase.
I did it. You know what I played?
What'd you play?
I played Photoshop. So come in and get your photos developed. 1 second. Let me go through all these photos. And I would give them their envelope. And that's it. That's all I did. Oh, you're here to pick up your photos?
No, that is
hours.
That is adorable. That is so adorable. I'm trying to think of other boring jobs too. There was another one where I found a pamphlet where I had cut out, like, Newport News catalogs. I don't know if you had that in Canada, but it's like Ann Taylor Loft. Okay? It's not a sexy catalog. Yeah. And I would cut out the pictures of these models and I would like glue them into a book and pretend that I owned a modeling agency of stock catalog Midwestern moms in kimonos and crocheted what do you call that? Afghan? Yeah.
Right?
Something.
Sweater. Dirty, ugly sweaters.
Yes.
That's fucked up. So mine was like, I'll give you your photos. I'm not powerful enough to own them. They're yours. And then you're like, I run hot girls. And then my mom's like in the catalog.
What about when your friends came over and you wanted them to play this game? Would they do it with you?
Not Photo Lab, no, but but we did play behind. Me and my friend Alexa played behind the counter, so that would take.
Now it's getting into your rebellious teen years.
We played behind the counter. I'm like chasing the mic. I'm like, no. We played behind the counter, and that was at my grandma's, and we just stood at her dresser. And we'd have imaginary people come up and we'd go, hey, what would you like? And they would have to tell us what they wanted. And we'd go, 1 second. And then we would go and get it and bring it to them. But it'd be like knitting needles, wool. Oh, you need a ruler? Oh, 1 second. We have a mirror.
That's so cute and so adorable. I don't think I could get my friends to play that with me. I can distinctly remember having a friend wanting to leave once because we were playing Barbies and I kept wanting them to have sex.
Oh.
And she was like, I don't want to do it anymore, Carla. And left your girl.
What did your mom say?
I mean, I didn't tell her why Susanna was running from the house screaming, but that was the case.
The mic's haunted. This is trippy.
This is the first in-person episode of Here for the Hang.
This is a tease.
Thank you for bearing with us for all technical difficulties.
See, we didn't make our Barbies have sex. We just dry humped pillows.
Yep.
Like,
did it.
Did
it. What about this? The huge stuffed animals that you win at the fair, like those were my first boyfriends. Let's just get honest.
I didn't win any of those big stuffed animals.
They were a good lay.
Yeah, I didn't have any of those, but I had like my Goofy doll with the big snout. But I do remember the
You
first
could work
time.
with that.
Yeah, that's a really good. There's got a little pop nose on the top, and you're like just want a focus point. I hope there's no pedophiles watching this right now.
I apologize for the heat, babe. Can you hand me like a sweat rag?
A sweat rag. Carlisle.
California's burning, and we have hot spotlights on us.
Carlisle is freaking the
hot
fuck
tea
out right now. You're drinking hot tea. You have a mirror in front of you, and you're sweating.
I just caught a glimpse. I don't even need the mirror. I can see in my forehead. All right. Nikki Bond, the podcast is Whoa Dad because as you're describing this sad childhood, as we know, father was nowhere to be found.
Father was just living.
He was living his life. What was he up to?
So my dad's a drummer, and he lived in Toronto, where I'm from, until I was like 9, and then he got deported-ish. He didn't like get fully kicked out, but like
that's what he told your mom.
He had to leave. Yeah, that's what he told my mom.
I gotta go. They said. Good luck with the kid thing.
Time's up. I got these plane tickets, and they're kicking me out. Kane comes. He's like doing it to himself. I'm like, Dad? So then he went back to Florida, and then he was a drummer and was just on the road all the time. And so I would talk to him, but like we did not have a relationship. It was very like, I just remember having a crush on JTT and him calling to talk to me, and I remember being like, Mom, don't tell him about who I like. And she's like, who do you like? I was like, Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Don't tell him, okay?
Everybody did.
Yeah, like that's how. First of all, still so. Like, I look at pictures, I'm like, am I a pedophile? Because I look at Jonathan Taylor Thomas when he was a kid, and I'm like, I'm still attracted to him.
What about now? Do we have a shot? Is he married? Should look that up.
We should look that up. I think.
And I'm sorry, but child actors do not age well. I would be scared to see a picture of him now. No offense to any child actor fans of the Hang Gang that we might have.
So he was.
So
in
he was
Florida.
out. Papa was a Rolling Stone.
Papa was a Rolling Stone.
Literally,
he was just drumming with Broadway.
Drumming to his own beat.
Yeah, just doing his thing. And then he's retired. So now he's like, knock, knock, here I am. And I said, oh, that's cool. And I've tried to have a relationship with him, like when I got older. And it's just like he doesn't get it. Like he doesn't get it from the sense of like, you can't call me sexy. You can't call me.
That's the clip I saw that's hilarious. Everybody go to Nikki Bond's Instagram, Nikki NIKKIBON, and you'll see the Whoa Dad podcast clips. She's basically just teaching somebody that is really clueless on what is an appropriate dialogue to have about a sexy picture
with your child.
Because you do a sexy character. So Nikki does this character Instagirl.
Yeah.
Instagram girl or Instagirl?
Instagirl.
And Instagirl's pretty hot.
Yeah.
And Nikki, you yourself, for whatever reason, don't identify as hot.
Yeah.
But spoiler alert, it's the same girl. It's the same exact girl. And she looks so hot.
She looks good.
What changed? Is it the baby voice? I don't know.
No, I think it's because I part my hair, I gel it, I put on fake eyelashes, I contour. Oops.
Tan? Do you tan?
No.
Lashes and tan are my secret
Yeah.
to bumping up the hotness factor. But
I
anyway,
also
go
stuff
on.
my bra. Too
Stuff your bra,
soft.
okay.
So here's like an example of my dad. I'm still holding my boobs for the rest of the episode. My dad said about Instagirl, this is how distant we are. And it sounds incestuous, guys, but he does come from a circus background. So like, what do you expect?
Getting to that.
But he doesn't understand. Like, he just has like roadie talk. So he was like, Instagirl, like he was talking about Instagirl, and he's like, your tits look great. And that's when I was like, okay, you actually don't understand. Dad, you can't. He's
The
so
only other dad
clueless.
that says things like that is Donald Trump, by the way.
And he says that, like, I was saying stuff back to him, and he goes, oh, that's something Trump. I don't want to be like him. And I was like, I know, Dad. He's just so
like you
clueless.
literally just were.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. Being a comedian, like being a rambling man as your father
Yeah.
was, you both come from this lineage of
You're like,
gypsies.
You just only want to talk about it. You're like, I
Well,
want to get to it.
No, I want to tell people at home
Yeah.
because look, I only know this because she confided this to me at the beach the other day. She's never talked about it in her act, which shocks me because you
I
would think
know.
there's a lot to mine from this. But Nikki comes from a long, long line of circus people.
Circus freaks.
Circus freaks, literal tightrope walking,
Yeah.
unicycling, juggling.
On the road, circus, family.
And listen, let's get real. Like a comedian is that in the modern day.
100%.
Since they
Yeah.
shut down all the circuses, since PETA shut down all the other circuses. But was it
true.
Ringling Brothers or was it a famous one or
You
just?
know what? I think it starts with an not.
Did you want to give them a plug now if they're still around?
Circus. You can go to my GoFundMe and we'll actually go to my Patreon and donate, and that will go to my circus family who is
Yeah.
out of work
They
because they don't
still
get
need it.
unemployment because they're in the circus.
Yeah, they need it.
They need
really
it.
need it.
I actually don't know what my dad said the other day on the podcast, what circus it was. It'll be titled like Circus Freaks for sure. But yeah, he did say. So my grandma did a headstand on a motorcycle across, I don't know, is it a tightrope wire?
Okay, I do this too.
Right?
Is it
What is it?
tight or tight?
Tightrope. Is it tight?
Do you know,
Jeez.
Chase?
Is it
Tight rope, tight.
tight? A
Okay.
tight.
Well,
Yeah, I know
sometimes
we
it
were
sounds
just
like people are saying
joking.
type. Yeah.
We know.
Duh.
Jeez.
Okay.
We're
Don't
just-
try to mansplain.
Yeah, we just thought that other people at home might get confused and we wanted them to feel normal. So we were pretending we didn't know what it was.
So your grandma went on this
in a headstand
in a headstand.
on a motorcycle across the in case you were wondering, tightrope wire.
This is wild, but like how high up do you think?
Oh my God.
Do you think the story got
Regular-
exaggerated and it was just like a
No.
couple feet off the ground?
No.
Or is this like
So my dad, his whole life, like she'd always be like, Bobby, because my grandpa's Greek Italian, my grandma is Czech, and they were in the circus. So I have chin hair. Like all of it comes together. It's
circle.
just what happens.
Worth it.
So he was always like, she would always say, Bobby. I didn't know her that well, so like my accent's gonna suck. But I was on the motorcycle in the headstand, and it stalled. And her motorcycle stalled for like half an hour, and she was stuck in the air, and the fire department had to come. And he never believed her. He was like, yeah. And then she finally took out the newspaper article.
oh my God. It
So it was
really
like-
was a half an hour?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That is some core strength.
That's craziness.
Let's hope that you inherited that. Jesus.
Yeah, I know.
That's what
I
that
know.
is, right? Just
Yeah.
balancing, just knowing your
Yeah.
body.
I guess so. And just like
Whoa.
growing up with it. Like
Whoa, Dad.
Whoa,
These are the
Dad.
stories you get on Whoa, Dad.
These are well, a little bit weirder, like you've already heard. But yeah, she had to do it for Hitler. She didn't want to, but she had to. And yeah.
Why? Because he was just like, perform for me.
He just
I don't know what
he came
accent it
to
was,
one of
but-
the circuses. Yeah.
And she just knew he was in the crowd. They were like, hey, by the way, we don't want to alarm you. If you look out in the crowd, it's him.
He's casting right now. You want to do your best to not get cast.
Let's try not to have the motorcycle stall tonight. Or if you want to go that way, it might be actually a better end for you. So, wow, she performed in front of Hitler.
Yeah.
And your granddad, what was his trick?
He was an acrobat, and he also juggled and rode a unicycle.
Wow.
And then their parents, like my grandma, my baba's parents were in it. Like she talks, it was pretty it was a fucked up life. It's very incestuous, and like her uncle's in it, her cousins,
incestuous, there's some inbreeding within the family.
100%. He's gonna. I hope he won't watch this, but he's never wanted me to talk about it.
He better like and subscribe. The red button below.
Yeah, Dad. What are you doing? Huh? What are you doing? Stop calling me sexy and subscribe to the podcast,
please. And all of you, if you want to see Instagirl, by the way, I don't know if I said it earlier, Nikki Bond is on Instagram. You can go check that out and see what her dad even said was sexy.
Yeah, let me know if my tits do look great, because believe it or not, coming from your dad, you just don't believe it. It's like,
you need a second opinion.
You're my parent. You have to say my tits look great.
So let me ask you this. How big of a failure are you because you can't ride a unicycle? It sounds like everybody else had that down. And I know you have a tight 10 minutes and you have your own skills, but let's go with this unicycle shit.
Fuck
okay?
you, Carlisle.
It's clearly in your blood. You're robbing us all. I mean,
it's true.
I wish we could cut to that segment right now.
You know what?
I'm going to give you a year and you come back. And
you know what? Maybe I will, because there's nothing else to do.
Well, and now, you have infinite time. We're in the quarantine.
Maybe then now I can integrate my circus family.
Your dad's back in your life. You can bond
stage.
over the lessons.
He did say that's what he wants. He goes, you know what I can teach you? How to ride a unicycle. And I was like, that's
more than a lot of people can say.
Yeah,
all right?
I guess so. I guess.
And to me, that's way easier than juggling. Like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, I
honestly.
don't give a fuck about juggling.
Again, sorry.
Yeah.
But you had another interesting person in your family, because your hot mom, who you spoke of earlier, is also psychic.
Yeah. Well, she sees ghosts. Guys, you are gonna just think they're gonna think I'm nuts. They're
no,
like,
this is what makes a comedian.
Yeah.
This is why we have people on. I wanted to start this show just so I could hang out with comedians and have an excuse to make you come over to my shitty studio apartment. So
don't say that, they can't see it.
Here we are.
It's really big. It's really big.
The jig is up. But it's interesting how we all have these backgrounds that, like, I grew up in a bar, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, that we all have our things that are the exact recipe that makes us be able to stand in a park with a microphone and tell jokes, which is a really weird thing.
You look, and I don't mean, this is like, you look like a girl who grew up in a bar, and not in like a mean way, but in a coyote ugly, like if I was watching a movie and they were going to cast a girl that grew up in a bar.
Yet they never do.
Oh, they don't. They don't?
We could still make that movie.
Yeah.
No, the part could be like, you know, she's from Northwest Mississippi and her name begins with a C, and they'd still be like, yeah, you're not right for it. I don't know. This isn't, you know, your role's gonna come.
But.
No. But so what do you think, hearing about these stories, did you understand that was not normal growing up?
No, that's the worst part. Like which? There's so many non-normal things.
The thing of like having a dad that's a rock star and a grandmother that unicycles and a mom that's a psychic. Like, did you know that you were destined for Hollywood?
No, I definitely thought it was normal. Like, I really didn't, you know, it wasn't until Monterey was like, her grandparents were in the, and you guys were like, what? And then you're all like, why don't you talk about this? I'm like, I don't know. Because it was a part of my life, and my dad not being around, I just got used to. I didn't know that I was fucked up or like that it would affect me. And I was just like, oh, I just don't really know my dad. I just got used to it. So that I thought was normal. And the circus stuff, I was just like, that's just my life.
Your dad, so now that he's back, I mean, you guys are obviously on good terms because your relationship seems
chummy.
pretty good, even though it has this heavy past.
Well, it still is heavy in the sense of like why I'm teaching him not only to not call me sexy, but like also he doesn't ever put anybody but himself first. He doesn't know how to act like the parent. It's me constantly saying to him like, hey dad, I need this from you. Hey dad, I need this from you. And I'm always having to direct him, which like fucking sucks. Cause it's like, I think I make progress and then he turns around.
Well, there's probably a lot of dads that feel confused about having a daughter, much less in any stage of having a daughter is probably difficult.
Yeah.
I would guess.
Yeah.
Now, this might be your demographic because a lot of dads watch this show, I think.
Do they really?
Judging by our YouTube subscriptions.
Do they really?
So, so if you are wondering, you might get some like solid gems out of this, because from what I can tell, it's a beautiful relationship that you have, and it's always beautiful to kind of see a relationship unfold right before your eyes. So this podcast, you're starting at the ground floor, and if we tune in now, we're gonna see this whole relationship blossom.
Yeah,
We're gonna see him make amends to you.
Yeah, hopefully. It's to be
He's
honest,
very funny.
He's so funny. That's why I did it. Like, but he also, this is the first time I've ever really confronted him face to face and talked about our feelings and been like, no. I remember we would always be like, if I visited him in Florida one time, he was like, so have I affected you? Like, you can talk to me if I've like done anything bad or like how I affect. He always wants to talk about it, but I didn't know him enough, and I knew I would cry, and I was like, no, I'm fine. So my whole life I've said I'm fine until he pushes me to the edge. I send him a dramatic email. He writes me back, oh, I'm sorry, and then after that literally goes back to normal, and he just doesn't pay attention. He's kind of in his own world, and that really affects me because if we get close in a week and then he leaves and then I don't hear from him, I'm upset, and I'm becoming more aware of my own emotion with that. And so I'm explaining that to him, and we do have like a friendship, but that becomes really confusing because it's like, we're buds, but you're also my dad, and I'm sick of cleaning up after you, and I'm sick of saying how to love me and teach, and like, now I'll tell you how to do that. And it's amends in a way of like me understanding him more as a person and learning how to not take it so personally. But actually, like, it is dangerous the closer you get, because when he does become aloof again, and he does, it hurts. And then now I have to tell him.
Yeah, well, you're treading in the landmine of that at any point he could, repeat the behavior that was from your childhood, which is abandonment. Yeah. And that's triggering for you. Yeah. So now you're like, let's get the mics out, and we got to put one of these out. So at least I'll see your ass bi-monthly.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, why not? Look, there's all kinds of new ways. We're in an age of technology where we're literally like discovering new lexicons to speak in. Do you know what I mean?
He'd fucking love that you said that. He's like, words are inadequate and we need to communicate. He'd love it. No, it's true. And what you said about like the dads is that I did it for myself, but I got the idea because of another dad that I know who was trying to connect to his kid, and he couldn't, and he was complaining about it and was going to quit comedy. And I was like, what are you saying to your kids? And he's like, I'm saying, how's school? And I was like, that's the most boring question. They don't know how to answer that. They don't know. And that's when I was like, you know what? Maybe I should teach my dad how to be a father, and people that are in his position can hear what I needed or what he did wrong.
That's such a cool idea.
Yeah. Because my dad tells this one story where he took me for lunch and I was 3, and he's like, you didn't say much. And so I read my book. And I'm like, I was 3. He's like, but you didn't want to talk. I was like, because I didn't know how? Like, what are you doing? So it's like those kinds of
things. Do you
things.
remember that lunch?
No, but I remember going to that restaurant. But when he did say it, I do have a vision of me like drawing and just kind of like, I did have anxiety when I had to hang out with him because he didn't know what to do. And he expected me to lead the conversation.
Right.
And so, yeah, I did make it for people, even in my position, like the broken home, because then you understand like these people are just humans. Like what we were talking about, like our parents, you grow up, you don't know how they're fucking you up, but they are. And then you have to get over your own issues.
This is so
of
why
what
I
they
don't want to have
caused.
kids. I mean, there's literally no way to not fuck it up.
There's no, be self-aware.
Well, no, because like if you're all aloof and not there, then that's bad. But then also, I feel like the way that parents are too into their kids and too into what they do to the point where the parents don't have their own life. Like now, whenever I hear parents that are like, oh, well, like we don't want to do that. She doesn't like to do that or whatever. It's like my parents never cared about what I did. They would take me to a rock concert and just like stick.
That's awesome.
They were young. But like you think about the age your parents were whenever they had us. And then you go, oh, yeah, well, I get it. I mean, they were fucking trying their best. But
how old were your parents?
Well, I had really young parents. They were like 25 years old when they had me. And we owned a bar. Cool. And I mean, my first birthday party was in a bar with all the employees. And I used to just be in this like kind of scene all the time. And it's so funny because we posted the last episode of Here for the Hang. And somebody wrote in the comments that they watched me perform in my garage when I was 6 years old. And they knew that I was going to be a comedian and a star. And I would entertain everybody all night. And he's like, it was sometime between...
No.
Don't try to do the math on that, YouTube.
Don't keep talking. You don't even have a timeline.
It was like it was so cute. It's a big long thing in the comments where he was like, "Yeah, I just looked at your mom and she was like, she can do this all night." And it was just I've always had an audience because I grew up in that way. So it's like you can look at it like, oh, she was in a bar, but it's like but it also made me have a personality. You know, so it's like the things that maybe some people might look at negatively today. I look at it negatively to put your kid in front of an iPad and just pop them down. And like you were saying, like your dad not talk to him. Like at least they were, engaging with me and like.
You had people.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, the idea of a bunch of adults only focusing on me makes me wet. Like that's an amazing.
Oh my God. It's all I ever
so much
wanted.
Attention.
And I was a good kid because I would go back in my room and be by myself to like write the play or write the performance for like hours. But then like when I came out, I would like line up chairs. And I mean, look, this show is basically a continuation of that. All right. We're in my studio apartment. Let's get real. Have we really moved up from garage hang gang? Have we? Anyway, no matter where you,
no crowd.
Yeah. No matter where you find us, just imagine that this is a big sound stage in West Hollywood.
Yeah.
Cause it is.
It will be.
But so anyway, you were saying about Whoa Dad, the podcast.
Yeah.
Where can we find this?
It's everywhere. It's on
anywhere
you find podcasts.
How many episodes now?
Right now there's 4. Yeah.
And how long are we going to do this?
I mean, right now I have 13 and it extends past when we spent the most amount of time we ever have together. We spent 8 days.
Wow.
He came into town right before COVID.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And we recorded it, and it took me all of COVID, not that it's over, to produce it because he chews Nicorette the whole fucking time. Because he's used to, like, I'm like, Dad, can I see in your mouth? And he goes, and I go, under your tongue, and he goes, and then I went, do this. And then he goes, and it just flies out. I was like, I'm gonna fucking, like, he's 12.
Oh my God.
We did it beyond... Yeah, so we did it those 8 days, and then we've been doing it over Zoom. Yeah, I actually told him on the podcast through Zoom that I was engaged, and the response is not. in just not fatherly.
Wow. And it's all recorded.
It's
we
all
can hear
recorded, so you can hear it.
I love that you did that on air.
I just fucking...
All right, so check that out. What episode can we find that in?
That's going to be like episode 13. That's going to be in a little bit. So you have to follow the story. But it's more interesting because then you see more how comfortable we get, and like you probably will feel how I feel where it's like, oh man, they're getting closer, they're more on it, he's gonna be excited, and then I tell him, and get ready, just keep following the pod and we'll get there.
Wow.
Yeah,
so watch out for that.
Yeah.
If we ever do comedy again, you'll be able to see Nikki. We used to do a lot of shows together whenever comedy was up and running.
Carlisle runs a sweet show.
Well, I did.
You did.
It is no more, but I will again. I don't know, though. I don't know if I'm going to run rooms again. Let me just say, sorry if this is too inside baseball, but whenever you're a comic and you run a show, it is impossible to enjoy that night. It is the most stressful. It's not like this. Like, this is my passion. I love doing this. That's why I want to do this. It's low stress. A comedy show is anything but stress. I don't want to worry about who needs to go up when and who's got a show they got to leave early and who's running late and who's going to flake out and like who's running the light.
Your set sucks because
my set always sucks because
it's
you can't focus.
You can't focus. You're
if
like,
the show runs behind, it comes directly out of my time. Because remember, they'd always be like kicking us out. So it'd be like, 3 minutes by the time it got to me. And it's like, well, why am I even doing this? I could just do a set and actually get practice. But I did get practice for, dealing with comics. And that's how I met everybody in town. So it's good for that.
That is good.
That's all I wanted to do. Sam Tripoli told me that whenever I started. He was like, you need to run a show and run rooms because you'll meet everybody. And it's a currency of sorts too, because it's like, if I give you a spot, then you give me a spot.
100%.
That's all we need. Gonna do a park spot right after this. That's all we got here in LA.
That's all we got here in LA. Some people are
not
getting
bad.
No.
I mean, we've been getting some crowds at that Pan Pacific Park show. Shout out. They do it every Friday. I think Friday night if you're in the LA area, and if there's not a protest, or maybe if there is, there'll just be more of an audience. Hey, I welcome it.
That's actually pretty good.
That might be the case tonight. But I do have to wrap up because I do have that thing. But is there anything else we want to plug or talk about before you go? You had another podcast. If anybody wants to go back and listen to your old episode, or two others?
No, just one other.
Okay,
Getting
one
to
other.
Know You.
Okay, with Nicole Amy.
Yeah.
And we can also find that one wherever you can find podcasts.
Yeah.
Look, everybody, if you're a real comedian, you have 2 or 3. So I know we look like complete narcissists.
I like doing them. I like being a guest on podcasts. It's so good.
Isn't it so great?
Fun?
And it's like, look, we get a hang in.
Yeah.
That's why it's here for the hang. It's a real hang.
Yeah.
But it's like, let's record this shit because it's gold.
I do have
and it keeps us from talking shit.
I mean, no, but that's what I was gonna say. Like, I do have so many more questions for you, but we do have to go do the spot. That I'm like, can you just? I want to ask you questions. This is my problem with being on podcasts. I'm like, no, now I'm gonna interview you.
Well, we could do that.
Yeah, because I just have more questions. Like, I'm like, well, now we've dug into our families. We got to get deeper, okay?
Oh my
but
gosh.
you have to go do your spot.
Yeah, we're gonna get deeper on the next.
On the next.
Here for the hang.
Here for the hang. I feel like I'm on a morning show.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks
Nikki
for having
me. Everybody go check out the Whoa Dad podcast.
Exclamation. Whoa, comma, dad.
Whoa,
exclamation
Dad.
mark.